There's not a live indicator. Let me know.
And we're live.
Buddy Matthews is all elite. You guys excited? Huh?
I mean, kinda.
Okay. Well, I'm Angel from Weekly Wrestling Heat Podcast. We're joined here by the two guys. Down, I think below me is Matt. I don't know how the order is on this screen.
I'm above you on our screen.
Okay, you're above me. You're below me on my screen. So, okay, Matt, we're trying something new here, guys. Sorry about that. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I've enjoyed a lot of wrestling. It's been a busy week. I think we all had a very busy week this week. So I think that sitting down and talking about pointless men in tights and women in tights fighting each other over very important titles, it will be a lot of fun this week. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to have a lot of fun. That's all I know.
I am excited for this conversation because I think the previous conversations we all had, you were gone for most of the previous show, and you had a lot to say, so thank God that didn't happen, or else that would have been really bad. Elias, are you holding up okay in this freeze storm, quote unquote, that's happening here where we're at?
Are we in a freeze storm?
Texas
Fun this week. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Texas is half of Texas is still 80 degrees. We're kind of in the middle.
We are kind of in the middle because it started off pretty fun, and then all of a sudden it just went to cold.
Yeah, I had a call from some family up north a little bit. It's like 20 degrees, and then we're at 50. You go further down south, it's a cool 70, 80 degrees down there. So it's crazy how crazy our state is. Anyway, that's enough fun talk for now, guys. Like we mentioned, Buddy Matthews debuted on this latest episode of AEW Dynamite, and I think that's the biggest talking point. I am excited for this conversation. Everyone at least is talking about it. There's some confusion too. I don't know if you all saw this of how he is signed to AEW. Apparently, there's a little bit of.
Was he under 90-day clause or why? I have not heard that.
So technically, I think he had signed with New Japan at one point to be on New Japan Strong or something like that, and it hasn't been like 6 months, I think, since his release from WWE, and he's also on a work visa, which means he would have had to have had a contract to have still been here in the U.S. Long story short, he's here now. What did you guys think of the actual debut itself? Not the match that happened, but the debut itself. Was it done well? Where do you see it going from here? Are you happy? That kind of stuff. Matt, you have a lot of emotion on your face, so I'll let you go first.
Well, I thought that the match does need to be just ever briefly talked about because the fact that the Knights of the Dark Thorn, yeah, that one. What a great name. Can we agree? What a wonderful name in wrestling today. Great.
Well,
wonderful.
It's not Knights. It is Kings.
Oh, even better. Come on, this is a terrible name. You know it's a terrible name.
I love the name.
You know, sometimes you can be too metal. Let me put it that way. I thought the match was great because they lost, and I thought that that's what made the debut of Buddy Matthews matter more because if they had won, I think that it would have had a weird power dynamic. They lost, and then he appears, and he gives the beat down to Pac and stuff. I feel like the only issue that I have with him becoming all elite and him joining this is that we don't have a proper road yet for the story involving Malachi, Brody King, Death Triangle, if they're going to continue with that and stuff. I'm not really. I have an odd. There's an odd kind of positioning, in my opinion, for what they're doing with this segment of the universe of AEW. So it's not that I have negative feelings or positive feelings about him being there. I just don't understand what this means further down the line, and I want to find out. So like technically, like that's a good thing, I guess. But like for me, it was definitely not. I'm not a huge Buddy Murphy mark or anything. I think he's a very talented wrestler and stuff. So like I'm excited to see good matches, which is what honestly AEW is best at, is putting on good matches with their talent. So I'm excited to see that. But that's about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for what this is worth, and then we'll go to you, Elias, here, so get your thoughts ready. My brother had no clue who this guy is, and so I usually text my brother for this kind of stuff, like, hey, what did you think about this, and I sent him the couple of matches that got people excited for Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy at the time, back when Paul Heyman. Remember that Paul Heyman ran Raw for like 3 months or something. And my brother said, I'll just see what they do here. I really don't care. The guy looks cool. Let's see what happens with him, though. So
He definitely has a very cool look to him. Like Buddy Matthews, Buddy Murphy, whatever you want to call him. Like he's always had a very striking look to him.
Yeah, he looks put on some muscle and stuff, but I think it's a cool it's a good indicator to me that my brother is also interested in this, even though he's not fond of wrestling as a whole. It's very much this is what he does. Elias, what about your thoughts on Matthews, the debut, and anything else you really want to talk about?
I honestly thought that he was going to be come after Malachi, because remember the backstory with them. Or I was surprised to see him be united with him, but after last week's little tease, I kind of already was like, hey, he might be the next member. But it was definitely interesting to see, knowing the history that Malachi and the chemistry that they had with him and Buddy in the ring. Once if there's ever a turn, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see a pretty good match. As far as them working together, I'm interested to see exactly what the dynamic is, especially adding Brody King into the mix as well. So I'm actually, that was one of, like, the match was good. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do more with the Penta Black Oscuro gimmick that they got from Lucha Underground when Penta was back then. But I'm excited to see exactly what's gonna happen next with this whole feud that's going on. It's actually being kind of one of more of my favorite feuds, not because of the fact that it's Malachi. I think they've had all the story they're telling is kind of intertwined with everything. So I like it for some odd reason. I like the turn of Pac with this new, like, the eyes, and then him being not blind, and and stuff like that. And then Adam Penta Oscuro. And I think they're even teasing adding a girl to their side with the cheerleader from the Varsity Blonde. Julia Hart. So they're teasing her turning either on joining the Kings of the Black Throne, or her turning and joining Penta and Pac on this whole storyline.
Yeah, it is a little interesting. I guess I'll go ahead and touch points on the match too. That way we don't really have to talk about it later. But like the match itself, like Matt said, ended great. I think it was good. This crowd seemed kind of dead for it though. So
I don't think you can blame them though, because like I said,
that's a good sign.
There's not much of a story happening.
Yeah,
overall.
It is a little interesting to me that they did this before the pay-per-view. This could have been something that they saved for the pay-per-view, but I don't know. Whatever we think about that, I think it's good to see him here. Let's, like Matt says, let's let it play out, see what happens. I am interested because Matthews, since we're gonna have a lot more time here with just talking about AEW, I say a lot more, but
we'll figure out a way to fill it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that that he seemed to not want to do certain things at first, and then I don't know if you heard, Black was basically commanding him, do what you were promised, put Penta through the chair. It wasn't really by command. Like it definitely feels like there's the commander, there's the second in command, and Matthews is like an afterthought to this group. So that's the little thing I got from this little segment. So very much looking forward to it moving forward. I
will say that it kind of reminded me of, like, and this is just a reference to his past of when he was with when Buddy was with Seth Rollins with the Messiah gimmick. There were certain things that, like, there was a point when they did the horrible spot with the eye thing with Rey Mysterio that he didn't kind of looked like he didn't want to do it. So it brings back, like, it gives you that feeling that eventually there's going to be a turn, whether it's Malachi turning on Buddy or Buddy turning on Malachi. We're going to see one or the other happen, and eventually.
Right. And Matt, last touching point on this, Matt, because I know you read more into this because of your kind of more insight to wrestling that you have with your brother and everything. How do you see this playing out in terms of the fact they were almost cheering for Penta to get basically hurt by this bad group, right? They are the bad guys, so to speak. They're the heels in a little bit of way. Does that affect the way you're enjoying the storyline at all? Like they're almost 2-over in a positive way. Does that affect anything, or is it just this is how you feel about it?
I don't know. I think that for a long time I've kind of changed the way that I view AEW booking and the way that like I personally enjoy the storylines that they produce and stuff, because it's very indie and it's very make the fans happy type booking. So I don't think I care if they're going with a heel group that's going to get cheered. Remember, like, think of NWO, right? They were heels that got cheered too. And I don't think that matters. I think in reality, like, the biggest and most important part about wrestling is kayfabe is dead. It really is. And it does not matter if a heel group is getting cheered for quote unquote murder, even. Like,
Yeah.
because
exactly.
because it's just the way it's written. It's kind of the same way. Like, when was the last time you read a Joker story and you booed the Joker?
Good point. Yeah.
Even
We don't boo the
even
Joker.
Which we'll talk
We
about
don't.
that in another thing that happens later for sure.
Yeah, but that's where I come from. The positive reception to something negative has no longer affected me for a long time.
Okay, cool. And then Elias, last touching point for you, and then we'll move on.
I really
gonna-
go ahead.
No, I was gonna. You say what you were gonna say, but then I was just the touching point I want to have was, because you probably know more about Oscura than the rest of us. A little bit on him, and or how much does Rey Fenix being gone do you think hurt what that actually is?
I think
how they would see that moving forward.
I think it hurt a little bit of the fact that Phoenix getting injured took away from the tag team, because a lot of the focus was on the tag team themselves, not the actual one person. The Cero Miedos was always over, even in when he was in Lucha Underground. The arc of Penta Oscuro was always on there, but it was because of Conan, not Conan, but his master, who I forgot his name. He was an old school wrestler from WCW. But it you seen stuff like that, and it pretty much tied into that gimmick that he went back to, that dark gimmick. So picture point moment. Anyways, it turned back to that, and then I think it's something that I like to seeing from Penta. But I will say that there's one spot that I did like that was kind of cool, was when Pac picked up Penta on his shoulder, and it led to the chop from Brody King that made the Poisarana flip.
That was cool. I've never seen that before. That was pretty cool.
So I thought that was one of the high points of the match. But like I said, it was a good match. It had a lot of good spots like those. But to say that it made something special, I would still, like, it's 50-50 for me. Like, it a lot of the storytelling, like, was in the back end, but it was kind of a reverse back end of the storytelling that people don't get sometimes of what's going on, and you have to be able to pick up the details to be able to understand it a little bit more on that match.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool. I mean, overall, guys, that's our thoughts on Buddy Matthews debuting, and let us know in the comments down below, what do you guys think, and or where do you see it going from here? All right, guys. Well, let's get into the rest of the show here. It started off with what I think was a very fun battle royal. Why is it happening? We don't know. But so see, I can't be negative, Matt. Overall, the teams here, we had Gun Club, FTR, Red Dragon, 2.0, Young Bucks, Butcher and Blade, Best Friends, Santana and Ortiz, Private Party, and Dark Order of, what is that, Silver and Reynolds, I think it was.
Yeah.
We can touch on some of the moments. I mean, some cool points for me was seeing, obviously, Santana, I think, had a really good showing here. That was kind of the highlight for me personally, because I'm enjoying those guys a lot. And obviously, you know,
I need them to do something with Santana. You know, I feel really bad for them. This battle royale was a really fun idea, and I liked that it went from being a tag team battle royale to a singles battle royale, because one person on everybody's team was eliminated, so the very last 5 people were all just one member of each team. I thought that was a good way to book it because it kept it interesting and it let certain solo individuals perform well, even though they're tag team wrestlers and stuff, which I thought was cool. But this was an extended segment. Tell me what you felt, right? This felt like an extended segment for Young Bucks Red Dragon. That's all this was, and it was at the expense of a lot of talented wrestlers. Though I don't think, like, 2.0, in my opinion, is a comedy act. I don't take them serious, and they bug me. I don't like them at all. I think that it didn't hurt the Dark Order because I think the Dark Order is not really taken serious. They're not a comedy act. They're just not taken serious. The Gun Club is also a comedy act, kind of, that is trying to be taken serious. So it was at their expense a little bit, and it was at the extreme expense of Santana and Ortiz. I think that they're the ones getting hurt in this tag team turmoil right now. We have a boy and a dinosaur as the champions. That's basically holding it for what I'm assuming is going to be a Young Bucks redemption story. I don't know if Red Dragon is going to hold the title. I don't feel like they're going to right now. I think they could, but I don't think they're going to. But I feel like a boy and his dinosaur are just holding it for the Young Bucks. And then what is happening with Santana and Ortiz? What's going on with them? Why are they not being given this opportunity that I think you just broke them out of a very hot group? And they are a very hot tag team. What are they doing with them?
I will agree because I like for them to have the high profile match they had last week against Jericho and then actually going over Jericho, like that says a lot. And then for them to go to be in a limit, I want Pride and Powerful to get pushed. They're low key, and I've said this plenty of times. Pride and Powerful is low key one of the most underrated tag teams in AEW right now.
They feel like something new as well, I think, is what's so much more important about that. I feel like as cool as Red Dragon is in terms of like talent and ability, we know who these two people are. And I feel like people know who Ortiz and Santana are a little bit. I don't feel like they're like unknown or anything like that. But like they are the most unique feeling tag team in AEW, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Besides a boy and his dinosaur. But that's just gimmick. Their gimmick is much more interesting in terms of like wrestling.
and I will say this, I think Santana breaking out and showing, because this is a side of Santana that we saw in Impact, but him being more cutthroat, him being more kind of breaking that third wall or the fourth wall, how they call it, and looking into the camera and doing certain things that, like, you know, like the smile and stuff like that, or like during the face off, he looked at the camera like, you know, stuff like that makes people want them more. So it's like you have to capitalize off the growing even more, the growing popularity that they're getting, because they're definitely over, and now that they're on their own, it's time to put a freaking rocket on them and just I
feel bad because I feel like in terms of writing story for AEW and the AEW universe, right? The AEW universe of all elite wrestling. Like sometimes I think I forget, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but like this is an elite promotion. They have an entire YouTube channel dedicated to like the behind the scenes that was built much further before this wrestling company. Like the elite is a thing, an entity, and being the elite, and then also now all elite wrestling. Like I feel like, and when I say that this feels like it felt like an extended segment for Red Dragon and Young Bucks, the whole storyline between them and stuff. Like that's what this felt like. So it almost felt anticlimactic at the end. Like it's good that Red Dragon won. They needed to win more than the Young Bucks, sort of. But because the match was very segment or story driven. Segment is the wrong word. Story driven is really what I'm kind of like trying to say, I think. And then like to go backstage and Adam Cole's having like the you guys need to learn to get along and stuff, which is a weird thing to say because they're two competing tag teams.
Right.
Like obviously they both want to win.
And also it's also Adam's doing it selfishly though.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Like it's about him. It's not about the group. He's presenting it as the group, but it's about him with that segment. I think overall the battle royal was really fun.
Fun.
A lot
Yeah.
of stuff. It wasn't directly just about that feud, although that was definitely the main point. Was
Main point, yeah.
Young Bucks, Red Dragon.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other cool things that happened inside of it. I mean, you had Matt was walking out on Private Party. He tried to help. I thought he was gonna just drop Cassidy there. Obviously that tease is coming with Jeff. So, you know, other stuff did happen. You had FTR. We haven't even mentioned FTR in this match yet.
They were a little bit more ho-hum in the
And
terms
they
of...
kind of like they kind of muted themselves, which I think you almost have to because they're that good. Dax is freaking amazing, by the way. Watch, if you guys haven't seen it yet, when Renee Paquette puts out her thing with him. Apparently, it's really good.
It is.
Teaser for it.
It is. It is. I
watch that too.
It gives it gives a little insight to why they left WWE, what happened, and stuff like that. It gives a little backstory of why they are the way they are. They wrestle the way they wrestle. So it's a pretty good.
It's pretty cool. And anyway, like we mentioned, winners were Red Dragon. Cool, congratulations. I think this is going the route of Young Bucks win next week. They cancel each other out at the. It's an easy booking way to have Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy keep the titles for at least 4 more weeks.
In a big match.
Is it 4? Is 8
3
more weeks? 8 more weeks before.
They're
Double
not
or Nothing.
keeping it until Double or Nothing. Are you serious?
I don't know.
You know what? You know what?
A cool thing.
It's a
Battle of the
great way to. It's a great way to keep the belts on them if they never defend it. You're right. That 8 weeks of not seeing tag team. I'm not. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Since they have taken the belts, how many title defenses have they had?
3.
In what time period?
It's only been 2 months.
It's been a little longer than 2 months.
Almost 3 months. Almost
If we
3 months.
It's about to be 3.
If we compare the amount of title defenses that Luchasaurus, what are they called? Boy and Dinosaur,
Jurassic
Jungle
Express.
Jurassic. For some reason I couldn't think of their name. If we compare their title defenses in that same time period with any of the other tag teams, I guarantee you it's way less.
It definitely probably would be, and at least it's also not rematches. I think we got a lot of rematches with.
FTR and Young Bucks.
FTR.
Yeah, like they definitely did that. But why aren't we seeing anything with Jungle Express?
Jesus,
Jurassic Express.
About their names. I want to move on. I
do too.
I have a lot. We have a lot to say about it, but
what I'm saying
I definitely agree with you.
I
agree with you on that.
I have one point
after the match.
I have one point before we move on. I will say Red Dragon wins, and it sets up for Red Dragon versus Young Bucks at Double or Nothing, and Young Bucks take the titles back then.
I think Double or Nothing is the crowning moment for our boys Santana Ortiz. Unless they're going to give him the belt at Battle of the Belts, which is in Garland a couple of weeks before. But I think it needs to happen at the pay-per-view, I think. Anyway, after the match, there's some fighting. Hangman Page comes out. Huge crowd pop. He gets his little, I guess, promo, if we want to call it that. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really dig it. It's cool analogies.
Wait, are we talking about
when?
Wait,
has Hangman said?
No. We're talking about Hangman's promo.
Whoa. Hangman
sorry.
Hangman
I misheard.
promo. Hangman's promo.
It says MJF right here. Where are we at?
Did I skip it?
You're fine.
I didn't skip it. I just probably didn't write this in time.
You're good.
Yeah,
Let's go.
The Hangman promo. I liked the way he started it. I was intrigued as soon as he started. Who's ready for story time with
Hangman?
Adam Page,
baby. And then it kind of just
That's my name.
Away from him. It got away from him. And Bobby Fish, I had no clue this guy was this great. His little comments off to the side, off camera, off mic, were great. He's like, "That's gimmick infringement," and you can hear him yelling from outside of the ring. And he's like, "What? What are you even talking about? Are you a cowboy? Or are you an undertaker? What are you? Why are you putting people into 6 feet?" Bobby Fish he stole the segment to me. I didn't.
He annoyed me. So now you understand why Undisputed Era was the top of NXT, but that's just
All right,
and Matt, them too.
Matt, you seem surprised that I didn't like it. What's your take on it?
I didn't like it either, but I thought we were talking about MJF, so that's why I was surprised. But Adam Page we talked about this very briefly before we went on the show. I feel like they're doing him a disservice in his title run. I think that he should have grew more from beating Brian Danielson 2 times. He didn't lose once, but he beat him the second time. I feel like there should have been more growth with that. And it bugged me so much when the first match for him against Lance Archer was a Texas death match immediately. There was no build up to the gimmick. It was purely just go straight to the gimmick, because we all know that Adam Page isn't going to lose the title yet. So we need to give some sort of like, maybe he'll lose, and if we put him in a match that Lance Archer has famously never lost in AEW yet, then like maybe he has a chance. Like, it felt very like you're talking down to a child about something. I feel like they are doing such a disservice with Adam Page, and then when I see this promo, I'm like, Adam Page is also doing himself a little bit of a disservice.
Yeah.
He's not somebody that I care about as the main vocal point champion of this company. I don't think, and we talked about this too, is that a bad thing to not have a great championship run? Like, not all of them are going to be the top of the echelon. I was asking them, and I'm going to ask this question out loud to everybody real quick. Would you rather have more AEW champions or longer AEW championship runs? Let's hear, because right now we're at number 4. We are 4 runs into this, and the shortest so far, this surprised me actually, Chris Jericho was the shortest run at 182 days. Jon Moxley was at 277 days. Kenny Omega, 346 days. We are now at 104 plus, because he's obviously still champion right now. 104 plus for Hangman Adam Page. So right now he's under Chris Jericho's length. I thought Jericho had it a little bit longer, so that's really surprising to me.
Felt like he did.
Yeah, it did.
We've had 4 champions, and like, I feel bad because like I was ready for Kenny Omega to lose this title. I was ready. I remember me and Elias having a very strong conversation about how I'm ready for Hangman Page to take over, and immediately I regretted saying that. Like, not instantly, but like
it's just the journey for Hangman was right. It was
so good.
The time.
So
and
good.
I think this is the perils of a great babyface. Now what? You got where you wanted to. If this was a film, we would have the end credits. It's happy ever after, and this isn't a film, so we have to get the part after the happy part, and that's where it's a little bit harder to write that story.
Well, I think putting him in the ring against Bryan Danielson so quick, kind of put a lot of the expectation on what the champion wanted the champion to be, but afterwards, let's admit it, both matches that they had were good. But afterwards, it kind of went on it's been like a roller coaster. So it has its high points, it has its low points. Right now, I think he's at a low point because everybody, like we said a little bit earlier, if we said this, but everybody expects him to drop the title to Adam Cole. So
I don't anymore.
I don't know.
Initially, yes.
But initially, so now it's like he's trying to dig himself out the hole to try to like prove, hey, I am the AEW champion, and it still draws a bunch of skepticism because of the fact that people want Adam Cole to take over AEW, and I think coming from that perspective, I think that also hurts Adam Cole because he beat Bryan Danielson, and then he went straight to like Matt said, he went straight to Archer, and that match wasn't even like a OMG kind of like, it wasn't to the same level.
I think this is proof that like good matches are not enough for meaningful title reigns.
There needs to be more story.
There needs to be reasons.
And I wonder if look at the people you named at first: Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega. These are guys who have held top championships. They understand once you hold it, there's the story you're going to have to tell. Hangman's really never had that. I don't think he might have had like a little U.S. championship on Ring of Honor or something. I don't know.
He's never had a major title, so this is the first major title he's ever held.
It's not his fault either. Is the worst part about this, because him getting the championship, they had nothing lined up. Like, there's no reason why we should have had a 60-minute time-minute draw for his very first title defense. In my opinion,
I like that as a story beat, but I give.
But they didn't. But they didn't use it as a story, though, right? Like not really. Come on. They had a 60-minute time-minute match, right?
I won't.
But what I'm saying is we had a really good 60-minute time-minute draw match, and I agreed. Like, I like that. I would rather them do a 60-minute time-minute draw than a double countout.
Yeah.
I like the story beat of 60-minute time-minute draw. It means something very massive, right? But then there was one rematch to it, and then where did Daniel Bryan go? Away.
For Moxley.
Away.
He's looking for Moxley.
They had 2 matches. This story completed itself in 2 weeks.
It really did.
Oh,
it did.
From the draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was overall like that month. I get what you're saying. I won't argue it. I liked it. But anyway.
No, and like I said, the matches were great. But think about it like this: if you're a champion, right? You expect, like, when Chris Jericho got his championship run, he had meaningful storylines that made his title reign seem longer. It was just 110 days or 100. How many days? 180 days. But at the same time, during those 180 days, he had meaningful storylines that made his championship run seem better, and same thing with Moxley, and same thing with Kenny Omega. Like,
you know what's so interesting about the Kenny Omega storyline is that when it happened and he stole the championship with the microphone around the world, how long were they able to milk the mic shot as the reason that he won it for an extended time? Like, building with it, because they were still chasing after, the same person was still chasing after him. They had meaningful rematches. Man, like,
right. That's kind of what I think I was trying to get to, was these are guys who understand that part of it. I don't know how much Hangman doesn't, or we don't know how much help he's getting behind scenes to develop that.
It seems like not much.
Like there's none.
It really does.
And I hope he figures it out. I hope they figure it out. We've definitely been on this subject way too long.
I don't know. I think it's an important subject, because this is a person that is driving force for this company.
Yeah, but we're doing the show now.
It's important.
It is important.
We can talk about it next time, or at the end or something. We got to move on with the show, guys. Okay. MJF's promo. Here we go. I think this is maybe this turned me for a loop. This is not where I expected them to go with the storyline. I will not touch on everything. I want to just hear you two kind of discuss it. And I
want to go.
Want to put too much into it.
Other than go first.
Okay.
This isn't where I thought it was going. Elias, go ahead.
So, I enjoyed the promo. Don't get me wrong. I loved the promo. But, so here's the thing. In my personal opinion, the way that the storyline is going, I would have loved if this would have meant a little bit more if MJF would have lost that last match he had against Punk, because it would have made the promo mean a little bit more, like how, like the way he went into about, calling CM Punk a bully, or where were you at when I need you the most. It would have added a little bit more of that to it. But I loved it. It shows how good MJF is on the mic. It shows how he's trying. Like, the crowd hated him, but at the end of the promo, it was just like the crowd was thrown for a loop, and they were confused. They're like, should we cheer him? Should we boo him? What should we do? But like I said, to me, if he would have lost this match, the Chicago match against Punk, and Punk would have came out and done the same promos he's done over the past couple of weeks, I think it would have added that sweet spot to this storyline, to it. Especially him showing a different side of him, kind of like teasing this babyface character, or this passionate person that you don't regularly see. So, I mean, that's my general thoughts on it. Like,
I have a response. Matt, do you want to respond or do you want to put your take first?
Yeah, I'll say something very quickly because I think that we're all going to have pretty similar beats to this overall, and I think we all have the same fundamental. It was a great promo. I totally agree with Elias, and that does not happen very often, but I 100% agree with him that this would have been a more meaningful, and I'm not saying it's negative, but it would have been a more meaningful promo if he lost. If he comes out there and he lost, and he's like, I lost to my idol, who was a bully to me, like if he played off of that a lot better, I think it would have been a more meaningful promo. But overall, this was a I thought it was a great promo overall. Like, it made me, as somebody who enjoys to boo the heel, right? It made me rethink booing the heel. Which I don't know if this is meant to be, because like I don't know if CM Punk loves Bret Hart. We've seen him do multiple things as homage in all of his matches thus far, especially his big matches. We could be on the verge of seeing the double turn Bret Hart match. That is what I'm expecting of the pay-per-view for this dog collar. I think it's going to be a fantastic, brutal, horrific match, and I think that we see a choke out of MJF, and while he's like out, we see Punk throw a fit and like go overboard, and we see that turn of heel Punk now emerge, and we see babyface MJF. The only thing I don't like about it, and I think we all agree, is we have a unconcluded story with Wardlow, which makes absolutely no effing sense, and it makes no sense with Pinnacle as well. So like that's the problem, and I think that I know what you're gonna say is that this is just him playing mind games and tricking people, and he's going to use it to his advantage, which I also assume is going to happen. But I just want to say out loud that I think it's going to be the Bret Hart double turn that's going to happen on this pay-per-view, just so I can say I said that, because I know CM Punk loves to pay homage to Bret Hart. So when it happens, you guys can look at me and be like, wow, Matt, you're pretty smart. And I'll be like, yeah, sometimes.
I will 100% take that bet if that's what we're doing. MJF is not going to turn. What are we talking about? This is him playing CM Punk because this is the way he knows he can get after him. This is a way, very real story, by the way.
No, we know. Yeah.
So, all the Jewish attacks, the football stuff, it's all crazy. Someone actually found the post that he talked about, and MJF's comment on that post 10 years ago, whatever it was, 8 years ago, where MJF said, I'm leaving school now because of you and all that. Someone found it. Anyway, when have we ever seen this from MJF? Never. We have the Wardlow storyline to conclude, but there's no way they're going to do a babyface turn here at all.
I agree with you. I agree. But
when I watched it, I was like, obviously, we all probably felt the same way. I'm waiting for him to do something different. I'm waiting. He's not doing it. We have one more week before the pay-per-view. CM Punk's going to respond. I don't think you do anything there. I think you do it during the match. He's, held up. I think you have to look more to the Roddy Piper match. Someone of us has to watch that. Something that happened there versus Jimmy, whatever. What was
Jimmy Buffett?
No,
Jimmy Snuka?
I know. No,
it
it wasn't Snuka. It was Harper. It was Valentine. Yeah, Valentine. Yeah.
There's probably something in that match that's gonna get used where I don't know. I'd have to watch it.
So far, he has taken heavy inspiration from a lot of. CM Punk is who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. He's taken a lot of inspiration from previous matches, which I find to be very intriguing.
Yep.
I think it's the thing that's keeping him where he's at. I feel like CM Punk and Sting are the legends in AEW. The same way that certain people are legends in WWE and stuff. But so it's interesting. It's interesting to see this very Twilight, if you will, version of CM Punk. It's very interesting.
Right.
But this is the interesting part about this, right? Who do we want to see win this match, and who do we think is going to win this match?
Punk on both accounts for me.
Really?
Yeah.
because it's MJF on both accounts for me.
I'm
What
split.
Benefit?
I'm split.
What benefit does this give? Do you remember? Were you here when I was talking about how annoyed I was about Edge winning anything important for WWE? Were you around?
No,
Okay,
he wasn't.
Elias, do you remember how I went off on Edge winning anything of significance in WWE?
Yeah,
And what did I tell you about that? Like, do you remember why it annoyed me so much?
because he already has.
What is he bringing to the table against the people that are still building? What does CM Punk have to bring to the table against people who are still building? Like, this match, to me, is as important as the two matches that Hangman had versus Bryan Danielson, only this has the ability to get MJ over that next hump, in my opinion. Losing this match does not help MJF.
To play devil's advocate real quick, and then Elias will hear your thought on it. I think if it's not going to happen here, MJF's next feud would be world title.
Hope so.
But he's got the storyline with Wardlow, I think, first.
I think
you want that to happen yet. I think you'd rather have Wardlow get the. Well, you're right. Maybe Wardlow gets the big win.
Well, think about it.
From there.
Think about it like this, and this is kind of playing into this whole storyline right now. Wardlow's in the face of the Revolution match, right? And remember that the contract status, according to MJF for Wardlow, is that Wardlow has to give MJF that title shot. So Wardlow, I'll say
the title,
not the title, but the title. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is that Wardlow wins the face of the Revolution, and CM Punk loses to MJF, thus kind of catapulting both to that midpoint where they meet up and all hell breaks loose for where we finally see MJF or Wardlow turn on MJF and go from there.
With the title?
With the title.
Got you. I don't know. Regardless, I think we can all agree it's this promo made this story more interesting. Last week, a lot of us were complaining that it's almost gone too long.
I said I wanted to see something else.
This progressed it so much more than anything we've
seen. This is what we needed to see. This is they threw a wrench in the whole. They basically said, "Here's a big wrench in this whole plot. Like, here, I'm throwing you for a loop." And now people are thinking that, well, is this a MJF babyface turn, or is this just MJF doing what he knows how to do best and is playing these heel games? Because go back to the Cody versus when MJF turned on Cody, he did some of the same things, with the exception of this promo. But he did a lot of this heelish tactics that he's used were the same against Cody.
Well, he came into AEW as a face.
Yeah,
there's a low blow coming. I feel it, guys. All right, man, that's a lot of. I could really talk about that for another 20 minutes, but we really don't have the time. Next was the match, which we've kind of touched on, House of Black, and then Penta and Pac. Any other thoughts?
No.
On that at all, guys?
I think we talked about that.
Awesome. And then another great, fantastic promo segment. Jericho, Eddie Kingston. Eddie's great, guys. I mean, did y'all not like any part of this? I'm assuming the answer is yes, but this is definitely better than the very, very lowbrow stuff we were getting from Jericho before. This is Jericho doing better. Maybe not at his best, but this is Jericho doing really better. He had to elevate himself with Eddie Kingston.
He's respecting Eddie Kingston.
Yeah,
I think is a very good thing. This was Eddie Kingston's, and he's had decent promos. He's had good promos. This was his best promo. This was the thing that I wished we would have saw when he had the promo against CM Punk. I had major problems with the CM Punk promo that he did, and even the whole story that he did with him. There was issues I had with it. As of right now, we've had such a good organic build to this moment that started when Jericho left because he got quote-unquote injured. He was on Fozzy tour or whatever. He got injured, right? So Eddie steps in to help out Santino and Ortiz. Jericho comes back and expects them to fall in line. immediately they look at Eddie and they're like, hey, Eddie's our brother. Jericho's disrespectful to Eddie. Eddie is like, step back. And he's like, no, you step back. Then it starts to implode. And then they get the win over them. And now we see this great moment in the ring between Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho. And they both have this demeanor about themselves. And the demeanor to me was, I'm better than you. But they both had that demeanor. But yeah, almost. But they both had that same demeanor of I'm better than you. And the way that Jericho countered it was by saying, you stand here looking so smug, but you think you're a failure. And it hit on so many levels, I think, because so many people quickly battle with things like imposter syndrome, the fear of success, like all those things. Like there are so many people that you can point to easily and say that we have a fear of our own success. There are only X amount of very famous people. Everybody has the ability to get there, but everyone has to try to achieve it, right? And it's difficult to do that. And to point that out on a stage that they're both on already, which is a big stage, to say that, to further the story, I need Eddie Kingston to win this match for me. Like, that's what it felt like. I need Eddie Kingston to win this match because I am fearful of success, because I have imposter syndrome. Like, you, Eddie, are my analogy in this match against Chris Jericho, who is the man, the person above. What did he call himself? I am the big one. Like, he like all this promo should go down, as of right now, one of the best promos AEW has ever done, and it's like my lead of promo of the year by head and shoulders, because it was just so good. I was ready to go to sleep last night. I started AEW late last night, and I was like, I need to go to bed because I got to get up early, right? I need to go to bed tonight, and immediately when the promo started, I'm like, I'm gonna just see if this is gonna be a decent promo, and I'll turn it off, and I'll start it tomorrow if I need to. I didn't realize by the time it ended, like, how much time had passed, because I just wanted them to keep going. That's all I gotta say.
I will say this.
Great.
I will say this. This showed why people love AEW. And I will say this because Kingston is literally the heartbeat of AEW. Like, you could say, I don't care what you say about the rest of the people that have come in, but he's kind of like, I'll put it like this: Eddie Kingston is the Sting of AEW. So if you know how Sting went down with the ship, then jumped ship to about 10, 15 years later, Eddie Kingston is that guy that will lead and thrive and try to push AEW to the best of his ability, and it showed in his promo because it was realism from he was speaking. On the opposite side, Chris Jericho just like played the mind games. Like, he got into his head by saying, "Hey, I'm the big one," and you have fear by saying that he has a fear for success. Kind of like gets into him, because think about it: a lot of Eddie Kingston's big matches, he's lost. So
he lost against Chris Jericho. He lost against John Moxley. He lost against. He never had a one-on-one with Kenny Omega, did he?
No.
He never
Lost against Punk.
He lost against Punk. That's what I meant. I meant Mox and Punk, because he hasn't fought Jericho or Omega yet. But he lost against Punk, which I wish they would have changed the ending of that match at the very end of it, because that entire crowd.
It makes this story.
It makes this one. Yes, I agree. I agree. And, yeah.
And it does improve the Punk story. Also, whether you like it or not, people started booing Punk. So Punk went after who? The person he thought he couldn't get booed against. That's why I liked the I didn't want to talk about it too much, because we've talked way too much about that. That's why I love MJF's promo. He's fixing it again.
But the whole thing, going back just to the point, it shows how good both of these guys are in the mic. It shows why people, specifically Eddie Kingston, I really believe Eddie Kingston needs to win this match.
I think he will.
Oh, I hope he does.
I hope he does, because
those matches. I feel like, and this is gonna sound bad. This is gonna sound wrong, But the fact that Jericho lost to Orange Cassidy has me believing that he's going to lose this match to Eddie Kingston. And to a certain extent, that hurts. Because the very first time that Orange Cassidy beat Chris Jericho, because I was such a big Orange Cassidy mark at the time, I was like, yeah! But now looking back at that pointless win for somebody that it did nothing for their career in overall status of where they're at, it hurts it, because now I have a better feeling that he's going to win. When if I would have felt this way, and this is just like rose-tinted glasses talk, honestly, so forgive me for rambling for a moment, but this is me purely saying that, like, had that win never happened against Orange Cassidy, then this match would have felt so much different, because I still feel I feel like Eddie is going to win this match, which scares me to believe that he's not going to win this match, which will make me excited if he wins this match, if that makes any sense at all.
Right. No, I definitely get it.
Playing devil's advocate though. Playing devil's advocate here. What if Eddie Kingston doesn't win this one? Does it damage his stock, or does it do anything?
Man.
Like, technically no, because
The only
it's
story
just
you-
wrestling, but
The only
yes.
story you have from there, I don't know I think this is the bottom for Eddie. Like, this is the bottom point for his character arc as of now.
Yeah.
For Eddie Kingston.
I agree.
From
I
here,
agree.
it's gotta be start elevating him back up.
Do you see Eddie Kingston as a world champion in AEW wrestling?
I think he is. I think they're going to eventually
have a good short run.
He's
He's a short run guy.
I think they're going to put the title on him just purely because the crowd wants it.
I want that to happen. I actually don't believe it ever is, and that's
I don't know that it can.
I don't either. Especially currently talking about like our terrible ability to book shows, because we are sitting behind computer screens talking about wrestling and not doing anything inside of the world of wrestling. But like the things we've talked about in terms of like Hangman, Daniel Bryan, MJF possibility coming up, like where we're standing right now, like we're talking about years out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
Like-
just it's gonna be very hard for the right time, the right place, the right champion for him to beat. And I think even if he does, it would be a short run. Definitely TNT title, I think, is on the
We've been
rise.
waiting for the TNT title for him for far too long.
I think
that
there's undeniably he's got
Gosh,
it at some
you know,
point.
I
So-
don't know. I don't know what they're waiting for when it comes to the TNT title. I was just looking at the list of TNT champions. We have Cody 3 times, Brody Lee obviously. Darby Allin is actually the longest running. I was surprised about this. I thought Miro was longer, but at 186 days is Darby Allin, and 140 is what Miro is at. And then combined right now, I think that like Sammy's at 116 or something like that. Anyways,
I'm for Sammy to lose it.
we've had 5. I feel bad because like it's not like I don't like Sammy Guevara, but like it feels like that title does so little for him, especially because they do a poor job of booking matches with him involving it, in my opinion. But like, I agree. That title is meant for somebody like Eddie Kingston, who they're not going to give the main title to right now, especially. So like, why not give him this good run with the TNT title? Because like he will make that TNT title feel good and feel important.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, the last time I did was I think with Cody, honestly. Like Darby really didn't do much with it, and yeah.
Miro didn't either.
Darby's when
Whoever-
Darby's the championship run with Darby's actually when I stopped liking Darby Allin, because they
I
felt
agree.
too heavy in that whole thing of like Darby will take punishment for 20 minutes and then do
win with one move.
hope shot and win.
I-
Yeah.
That was frustrating. So frustrating.
I'll put it like this. I'll put it like this, and I'll make a good analogy. I think that Eddie Kingston holding the TNT title will be like the Miz holding the IC title, because
Sure.
no, because
Compare him to the
Angel.
Miz.
no. I don't mean it because of his character. I mean because of when the Miz was IC champion. He brought some sense of kind of prestige back to the IC title for that short run he had. Or
Actually, Go ahead. Sorry. I didn't.
No, I'm just saying, like, or if we want to go a little bit more, I would compare him to John Cena with the U.S. title. How
that is a great comparison. I think that is a amazingly accurate comparison. I think the Miz one is hilariously hilarious.
Terrible. It's hilarious for you. It's hilarious.
No, but the Miz did
it. Better that title. The Miz did not. That was a terrible run. I was watching WWE intently at that time, and he did nothing. He did nothing for that title. But John Cena legitimately legitimized the United States Championship with that match, with that run. He did.
Speaking of TNT title, we're so bad with timing today.
It's good conversation.
We had a Face of the Revolution ladder match here.
We don't need to talk about this very much.
No.
Short match.
Yeah.
And
it was a good match, and the reason why it was good.
So I did like the little swerve they gave us. The commentary team was talking about we have Hobbs, Keith Lee, Wardlow. God, it's gonna be amazing when 10 is in there also, and that's not what happened. It was a little bit of something of a swerve. I honestly went into it, I was like, oh cool, 10's gonna be in the ladder match too. I actually legitimately thought that. So, not much else to talk about. Do you all have?
I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the ending. That's about it. It just ended on a spear. I thought.
Ricky's been doing that for. I agree that I don't like that as his finisher, but like that is what he's been doing as his finisher.
He has used it for a little bit as his finisher. I don't like the spear as his finisher.
No.
Ricky Starks wishes so badly he was The Rock, though. He wishes so badly he was The Rock.
I would love it if we were big enough to have an interview with him. I thought this in the car on the way home today. I would really love to ask him, how much does it like hurt you to hear people say you're so much like The Rock, but knowing that him as a person, he's like, I'm just me. Like this just happens to be someone who was before me who I get compared to. I feel like that would be his answer.
I happen to have met him like when I was shooting photography when he first started out.
Oh, really?
And the same Ricky Starks that you see there is the same Ricky Starks that you see that I met about a couple of years ago.
And that's how I feel. I don't think he wants to be The Rock, but it's so hard not to compare it. I don't know who else you're gonna get that with anything. You're gonna get compared to someone else.
Yeah,
you always will be.
I think LA Knight wishes that he was The Rock.
So
I will say this: LA Knight wishes he was the Brahma Bull.
Yeah.
And Ricky Starks looks like The Rock.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that works as an analogy for those two people, but that makes sense to me. I'm waiting for LA Knight every time to do this. Every time. Where Ricky Starks, I'm waiting for him to lift his eyebrow every time. I'm waiting for Ricky Starks to do that. I need him to.
And the reason I know you're mentioning this is because of the segment afterwards with Keith Lee. Maybe one after, but it was a little bit later on. Keith Lee is backstage doing a promo segment, and they both walk up, Hobbs and Starks, and he gives his little, hello, I'm Keith Lee, and I'm going to win the ladder match. Like the little thing that he does. It was very Rock-like. Matt, what? Did you not like my...
Good job. No, good job.
Okay,
It was great. It was great.
You did like my Ricky Starks impression of Keith Lee as The Rock?
You need a little more Cajun in it, dude, because like Ricky, Cajun, yeah.
There were so many levels of that impression. There were so many levels.
That's the problem. Okay. Anyway, I think it's great.
Give me Hobbs and Keith Lee. That's all I want to see.
You're gonna get it. Don't worry.
No, like 1-on-1, not in this face of the ladder match. No. Give me Keith Lee versus Will Hobbs 1-on-1.
I want to say that this individual Dynamite has done the best job to build any match card for the pay-per-view.
Heck, has
in such a good way where it feels like this is a pay-per-view that I just don't want to miss. They've done such a good job with this pay-per-view build and the card building of this one episode alone. Like, I don't know, just great job. Good job, AEW, for that.
I will say that, yeah.
And it's a week ahead of time too, so we still have another week where there's going to be more
That's
on top.
what I was
of it.
shocked about when I realized where we were. We have one more week of Dynamite. I really think next week's Dynamite is going to suck. That is my assumption. Okay,
That's
really
where my
bad.
head went. I was like, God, I feel bad for people the next city. They're not going to get any setup, but I think it's just going to. It's just
going to be good matches. It's just going to be really good matches and stuff. Obviously, it's kind of like old school, like Sunday Night Heat, where it's like, this is great, but it means nothing. None of this matters.
I can't
But
wait.
it'll be great.
I think
stuff that built up, sort of, kind of
to nothing.
Maybe was the worst build up, but it still was a build up. Jade Cargill versus the Bunny. Quick little, kind of put together match, and then obviously it's a quickly put together title defense for the
TBS
championship at Revolution with the post segment. Jade, I thought this was one of her better matches. What's up, Chris? Welcome to the show. This was one of the better matches she's had, except for the one thing that we talked about off camera. I don't know if you want to mention that or not, but basically during the commercial break, the Bunny hit her little leg kick that she does into the corner, and Jade forgot to kick out at before 3.
Luckily, it was during the commercial break.
Yeah, luckily it's picture to picture.
I'll tell you right now, because I was not watching the Fight TV stream that has like the commentary going at the same time. I phase out and watch the commercials all the time when I watch AEW. So like, I didn't even notice it. I did not notice it.
Yeah, I kind of want to go find that feed and hear the crowd. Apparently, they booed pretty heavily, and that kind of killed the.
I thought
they got it back by the end. I think.
I thought this was one of Jade's worst matches that she's had in a while. I've actually been, because like when Jade first premiered with Shaquille and stuff like that, I was very down on her. When she was doing the squash matches, I was very down on her. But slowly, I started to kind of get behind her a little bit. I was like, okay, I get where they're going with this. I understand her style a little bit more. I don't dislike the way that they're building her. Like, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with what's happening right now. And then the match with Ruby happened, and I thought Ruby got the best match out of her. I thought that the last couple of matches she's had have been decent, if not good. And then this match, to me, took the air out of the room. It made me remember that Jade is still not ready for this position, in my opinion, and I don't like that they're shoving her down. Now it feels like I'm being shoved something that I don't want. And then the worst part is I definitely don't want Ty Conti to win this belt off of her, because I don't think she's a whole lot better. I really, really don't. I have not ever been a big Ty Conti fan. I think she is almost more green than Jade is, and that sounds terrible because Ty's been doing this a lot longer, but she has very little ability to read the room, the situation, and her promo skills are just not very good. And part of that's on her, because it's just there's a language barrier and context clues and stuff like that. But like, she ran down to the ring and tried to confront Jade after the match, almost completely forgetting who Jade Cargill is in the scheme of this whole universe. Like, hey, you don't confront her like this, and you don't look like you're more tough than her. Like, that's not how wrestling works. And this feels awkward because Jade doesn't know how to like do this, because she's way too green in this. You're way too green to be doing what you're doing, and you're both waiting for the Bunny to come in and hit you.
I almost argue Jade knew way better.
No, she didn't. She looked like, just as lost.
No, she's like, do you know who I am? Like, you don't run up to me.
I don't know if she did that on purpose, though.
No, I don't know. I don't know about that, but I also love it at the same time that she's like that presence.
Yes.
And that the little kiss on the forehead, like, okay, mwah, you're going to sleep, little girl. That kind of thing. Oh man. I think
that the ironic part of this whole segment, which I was like, what the hell? See, I'm cursing again today. Was the whole after segment, because even her going out and saying, I'm next, and drops the mic, and all of a sudden, while Jade is still speaking, so it's like, and then just gets in her face, and then I think Jade was just I think that kiss was wasn't even planned. I think just
it wasn't planned.
Yeah,
I thought it was so great.
So and then just for I think the only thing that kind of took me off guard was the Bunny attacking Ty, because I'm like, well, why?
They had a big feud.
Yeah, but it ended. So like, you just got your you just got your butt you just got your butt whooped.
Wire. You don't forget that.
You just got your butt whooped by Jade, and now you're over here attacking Ty. So I'm like,
Yeah, well,
thank God she did. Could you imagine if they didn't do that? What was going to happen? They were just going to stare at each other into oblivion. Like,
I think it made sense. I
was
didn't have
terrible.
that complaint about
yeah, it was bad.
I thought it was bad.
Yeah. At least something happened, right?
Agreed.
Jade is moving forward. The Who's Next line, did they pop you guys, or did y'all be like,
She's been saying that for a little while.
She's been saying that.
For a while. Yeah, she's been saying it.
Who's next?
Oh yeah. She said that at least I would say the last 4 weeks for sure.
I don't know that I ever heard her say who's next. Or,
I'll find you some
I'm sure
promo.
I'm sure she has. But it was very overt, I think, this time.
I think it's been overt every time, and I don't dislike it. I think that the people that are against it, like, to me, like, I think there are plenty of things to be negative about many things. I am very negative about that's not the thing to be annoyed at. Like I hate it when people are just like, oh, they're taking that gimmick. All gimmicks are stolen. There's only so many ideas in the world.
I don't know. We might have another Polka Dot Man coming to WWE soon. So
more like Stardust, but that's neither here nor there.
He's the
no. He's gonna put him straight up in polka dots, and
you know what?
Huge pop.
To change it up a little bit, he might even have just stripes. A little bit of a change.
That's pretty good. That's the greatest thing you've said.
So
you popped me so good right there.
So
let's talk about this.
We're getting down to the final.
I want to drive the last part.
Okay, I will let you.
Can I do a lead in? Can I do a lead into this?
Sure.
Y'all both have a lead in this.
This match gave Moise a hemorrhoid.
Very nice. We're thinking about you constantly, Moise. I want to drive this real quick because I want to say Danielson versus Garcia was a indie fans' dream match made in reality. It was a fantastic match by two very good performers. My problems with it, and this is why I want to drive it, because I want to ask you I don't want to ask you what you liked about this match. I do not want to, because we all liked this match. It was a very well put together match. What didn't you like about this match? I didn't like that the hope spots seemed very forced and not adequate enough to make me believe something might happen that would change the outcome. That was what I didn't like about this match. I don't care about the botches. People botch moves every day. When you botch something and people point it out, to me, I'm sorry, but like, you go become a professional wrestler and see if you ever botch a move. Oh, you did? Okay, let's call it out every single time. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. But there is a stronger point to that. Why are we still seeing Daniel Garcia in our main event of AEW? It's a mid-carder that is firmly in the mid-card that is not going to get a title run of any significance ever.
I think this more was
what didn't you like about this match, Elias? That's what I want to ask you. I want to ask you first, and then I want to ask Angel, because I want to give Angel lots of time to think about this.
The only thing I didn't like about this match is because I already knew the outcome.
Right.
And
lack of surprise.
I was not in. I already knew that Daniel Garcia wasn't going to win, and I already knew that 2.0 was going to attack him after the match, because being the promo, he kind of said, "Well, you know, why is Garcia with 2.0?" So
I think they hurt themselves more by having the ending promo with Brian before the match, when he said that he'll give Mox his answer after the match. I thought that hurt the match extensively, because why would he give an answer to a match after he loses a match? Like,
yeah.
They killed even more of that surprise, in my opinion, and that frustrated me, because if they're going to put on a match between these two people that I already don't believe in one of them, I need to believe in him, in the other person, as much as humanly possible for the match to give me any sort of intrigue.
I will say this before Angel says this piece because I think Angel's about to go like on a 35-minute run on this.
Wait, I'm
But
gonna keep pushing him away. I'm gonna keep making him away.
but I feel that AEW sees money in Daniel Garcia as a future star.
What?
I
What?
I
What?
it sounds ludicrous, but it does feel like AEW is investing their time in Daniel Garcia.
So too. Because they've put him in the main event enough times that has to be the case. But I definitely do not see that. Nor do I want to see it. Anyways, Angel, I want to move on to you now. Like I said, I'm not asking you what you liked about this match. I get it. We enjoy good matches. Totally understand that. I want to ask you legitimately, and I promise I am not just doing this to troll or to bring on the ghost of Moyes or anything like that. I'm asking you legitimately, what didn't you like about this match?
Oh man.
He liked everything about this match. So
No, I think the biggest thing I didn't like about it was, to your point, nobody believed Garcia was gonna win, which I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't either. Like, we should think that Bryan Danielson's going to win. We should think that.
And that's why I didn't mind the promo.
But did you think that the
Danielson-
hope spot was not good?
But I don't have a problem with the hope spot not being good because Garcia's more of a heel than Danielson to this crowd. So who's getting the hope spot, really? How do you build that? It's really hard to build that.
He has to get the hope spot, though, because no one thinks he's going to win. He has to get that.
But it's hard. I think that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a hard sell.
I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from.
So I don't like that. I understand why Danielson wants to help the kid. I get it. He likes him. He sees a lot of himself in him, which is why I think, to Elias's point, I don't mind that he's getting all this time. I'm not saying Garcia's going to be the next Danielson. I already see your face, but he shows the glimmers. But a lot of guys do now. I don't like that. I don't know where Garcia's going to go from there.
We've seen him lose so many high-profile matches.
Which, again, I think is okay. He should be losing them. It's that self-confidence. This is, you know what story was recent that Elias might understand this better? There was an opportunity with Chad Gable to be mentored by someone in WWE about 3 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago.
Kurt Angle?
Not Kurt Angle.
Who?
God, was it Chad Gable? One of the guys who also became a trainer. Man, I lost my thought here. By thinking about WWE, it just already hurt my brain.
It just broke it.
It broke me because it's so hard to try to remember what should have happened.
Talking about
what they did do.
American
Anyway,
Alphas?
No. This was before all that. There was an opportunity. There was opportunity for someone to become like, hey, I'm gonna learn from these people. Whatever.
Okay.
It was. Anyway, I lost my thought. Garcia, I think he's lost enough now where he can go back down a little bit with 2.0.
Do you remember? Were you watching? Okay, go.
I'll say, or once these guys join up together, Moxley and Danielson, they do start to build that whole academy program. I think the Lee Moriarty match was way better because you could relieve Moriarty as a babyface.
Yeah. You still didn't think he was gonna win, but
yeah, he should.
Yeah, and
God,
Moriarty, very
I
good.
think he's fantastic.
Yeah, I think he's better.
Him and Garcia at some point would be really good, but
I think I'm not sold on Yuta. I don't think I'm actually sold on him all that much. I think he's not bad or anything, but I just think that he shows how like sometimes guys have confidence that's legitimate and some guys have confidence that's written for them, and I feel like his confidence is far more written, and you feel that more than you do like believe in it. Promo after the fact, and once again, like this honestly, the end of this match is what sold me. I was already sold on Revolution. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I wasn't gonna watch it or something, but like this honestly, like really put that like pin inside of it for me. Yeah. Like I'm ready for that.
I can't wait. And this is where I was mentioning the crowd seemed very kind of out of everything. It was a weird crowd, weird AEW crowd. I don't know how much of that plays to the fact that they were close to WWE.
Maybe just a bunch of marks there, just like boo,
or yay. There's some cool, because there was some cool spots in this match, like you mentioned.
It was great.
It's like the crowd didn't know how to react to it. But yeah.
But this was more. This this was more of a traditional wrestling match than the high spots that we usually are used to seeing in AEW. So a lot of what
I think it was a good mix.
yeah, well, no, I mean it. I saw more heavy, strong style than actual like flips and all that other stuff that people are used to seeing in AEW.
Oh God!
So
Listen to this guy.
If you want to see some really good flip match stuff, you got to watch the opening match of No Surrender on Impact. I'm just going to tell you right now,
good.
like it's really good. If you're not going to watch the whole thing or anything, like watch the first one just for the funness of it, because there is a from the mat drop kick that hits a man on top of somebody's shoulders, and the guy, the shoulders he's on top of, he's really tall, and he jumps on the ring mat all the way up high enough to drop kick this man on top of his shoulders. It's really, really impressive.
We're talking tall as Omos, because nobody's as tall as Omos.
I don't even. Nobody should be.
where is beer? Where is beer?
Negative things about Omos.
All right, everyone. Elias, anything to mention on the Danielson Moxley promo?
I actually, not gonna lie, I was sold on the match. As soon as they kind of challenged each other in a sense.
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
I've seen that.
Work with somebody. I need to bleed with them first. All right, Wolverine, calm down.
But I think we're gonna see some good stuff in this match, and I think I'm going to be really happy when it comes down to it. So,
what will be the most bloody match of Revolution? Will it be the dog collar match or the Danielson Moxley match? Which one will be bloodier?
I mean, Danielson bleeds a lot easier.
I think it's gonna be the Moxley Brian Danielson. That's gonna be more bloodier, but it's gonna be one sided. I'm thinking. I
think we're supposed to assume that dog collar match is gonna be pretty bloody.
I want to see. What are we looking at here? Oh God. Oh, there's. Okay. Yeah.
Those are going to be the bloodiest matches. I could see Adam Cole and Adam Page being pretty bloody, but I don't think it's going to get gruesome levels. And I do think that the CM Punk MJ dog collar match is going to be pretty gruesome, right? Like this is one. Like, here's the thing: is I'm not a fan of death match wrestling. I've said it many times, but it's like an accident that you can't help but look at a little bit. And I think it's going to be one of those matches. But I think Mox, it's not no count. It's not a no disqualification match of any sort. It's just a pure wrestling match between those two as of right now. So if that's the case, then I think the dog collar match will definitely be much more bloody.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. Anyway, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait till next week when we talk about it. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you all for watching and listening to Weekly Wrestling Heat podcast.
Next week will be predictions for
predictions.
Yeah, next week we're going to do a predictions video for Revolution. We might touch on a couple things, but
only if Dynamite is meaningful. Only if there's meaningfulness, not just good matches.
We'll touch on the stuff that impacts the Revolution.
Revolution.
But yeah, thank you all for watching. Angel, Elias, Matt, Elias, do you have any other outgoing words?
Make sure to subscribe to our channel as we are still in the hunt to 100 subscribers. Remember, once we hit 100 subscribers, we will do a giveaway. One lucky person will win a t-shirt, wrestling t-shirt of their choice. So hit the like, subscribe, and follow us. That's pretty much it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, thank you for joining us. We'll catch up with you next week. Peace.